This episode of the Orange is Orange or Browns podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network, is brought to you by our presenting sponsors, Aligned Health Center and The Place. We are nearing the end of our conversation with COO Maria Giancola, and our conversation shifted towards chronic pain. Listen and check this out. Maria Giancola here with me talking about Aligned Health Center. I want to talk about chronic pain. Maybe it's knee pain. Maybe it's just like some pain in your ankle. Maybe you have elbow pain that just never goes away in your wrist. Maria, if we have this chronic pain, what can Aligned Health Center do for us?
So we have a few different things. Of course, at the core is chiropractic biophysics. That is the service that Aligned Health Center was founded on. We did that for many years because that's what we were good at. We're the only ones in Northeastern Ohio that do it. We can help with structural correction of the spine that can help with pain relief in other areas. If your spine is not in the correct shape and maybe your hip is slightly off, it's going to cause one side of your body to work harder. So it might cause one of your knees to degenerate at a faster rate because it's taking on, more force and more pressure because of the structural issue. So that's definitely a good way to help. We also provide regenerative medicine services. A lot of people are hearing it called, and I'm using air quotes, stem cell therapy. It is a form of an injection that is performed in our office, and it's to help arthritic joints. So that's a good one for knees, elbows, shoulders, wrists, ankles. Knees are really the number one joint that we treat patients for. I think that a lot of people have knee pain because their spinal structure's off and their knees just start to wear away. We walk on our legs every day, so, it really takes a lot out of it.
Call Aligned Health Center today at 440-230-6865 or visit them online at alignedhealthcenters.com. This episode was also brought to you by The Place. The Place is the place for all of your hot tub, spa, fireplace, and outdoor grill needs. The Place has been in business for 52 years, all family owned and operated. They are a full-service fireplace and spa superstore. They have a 16,000 square foot showroom with over 40 live burning fireplaces and over 40 hot tubs and swim spas on display. They've been voted North America's #1 service center by Coast Spas 2 of the last 4 years. Visit The Place on 2377 Medina Road today. Look for the palm trees to transform your backyard into the backyard of your dreams. When you think of fireplaces, hot tubs, grills, and patios, think The Place. This episode is also brought to you by the Press Play Podcast Network, and we are super excited to announce the launch of our brand new podcast, D3 Down and Distance with Chris Golian. D3 will be your go-to podcast for all of your Division III football news and insights. Listen as two-time national champ and Mount Union alum Chris Golian breaks down all the action for you as he covers Division III football. Listen and subscribe to D3 Down and Distance wherever you listen to podcasts. In this episode, Jeremy and I preview the Browns-Broncos 4:25 Sunday afternoon game in Denver at Mile High. We start by checking in on Baker Mayfield and Tony Grossi. We then move to our House of Hoodies game preview and narratives. Jeremy schools me on how NFL records and standings work. Somehow I had no clue and I was confused and lost my whole entire life. Thank you, Jay, for the correction. We jump to keys to the game and then offer our bold predictions. Jim Donovan, take us away.
45-40, run, William, run! He's got blockers in front, 5, touchdown! Joshua Cribbs!
Snap back, ball down,
Kick block! They blocked the kick!
This is the Orange is Orange or Browns podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network. I'm your host, Chase Smith, and with me, as always, Browns insider Jeremy Powell. Jeremy, it feels like we haven't played a game in like 3 months. Why does it feel that way?
I don't know, man, but I'm ready to get the Brandon Allen train rolling here.
Oh, my gosh. We played Sunday night. It feels like we haven't played in weeks.
Right.
I don't know why.
It really does. It's strange. It's just strange. I think part of it is that we did see actually mixed in with the bad. There were some positive signs. We moved the ball better than anybody has against the Pats this year. Baker Mayfield's quarterback rating was like 79, which isn't great, but it was way better than anyone else that faced the Pats this year. So I don't know. I think maybe that we know there's some good things happening and we want to just get out and get back on the field. So it feels like it's taken forever. I think that's what it is, Chase.
I mean, I think the game was a really weird game. But then, of course, before we get started, Jay, the Tony Grossi, Baker Mayfield, a smackdown finally happened. It's been brewing for a couple years. Do you think that played into how this week feels like it's dragged on?
Yeah, I think everything surrounding it. We just want to play football, right? We're sick of all this other off-the-field drama, all the other crap going on. And I think the fans and the players both, I'm sure the players can't wait. They actually went out there today because, Freddie had faced criticism for not going out till, the night before game. So they went out early this week. So, yeah, I think that's part of it. I think the drama, I think the fact that we think we can win this week, the fact that we really want to get this stretch of games going, that we have a good shot at winning, all of that has led us into, really wanting to get the game going here.
So let's talk briefly just about this Baker and Tony thing. All right. You had some tweets. You felt like Baker was maybe a little childish. He should have held better composure.
I do.
So this is my question. We'll say the best Baker is an upset Baker, right?
Right. Well, yeah.
Baker, has he not been upset this whole season? I mean, at what point?
Right. Yeah.
Week it's now we get a motivated Baker. How's he not been motivated?
What's the right key? Exactly. What's the right key, right? What's the right thing that's going to push him into being the motivated Baker? He should have been motivated all year, which I'm sure he has been. The thing that strikes me about the Tony Grossi thing, and I know this is an unpopular opinion. I know everybody hates Grossi. Nobody likes Grossi. I didn't hear what was so bad about the question. He asked, and Grossi even explained himself when Baker really exploded, when he asked if he was happy about the result, was because Baker had just said that part of what they wanted to do was keep the Pats from getting the ball back. So they slowed down the pace because they knew they were getting the ball to start the second half. So I don't understand what he got so mad about. Now, I understand the fans that hate Grossi and any chance they get to throw him under the bus. And we have this whole sort of gotcha culture thing going on now where, got him, burned him, the burn, sick burn, bro, and all that stuff. But let's be honest here. Baker Mayfield is the starting quarterback of an NFL franchise. There's only 32 of these jobs. And I understand he's not a cookie cutter quarterback, as he likes to say. He's going to do things his own way. But I think if Tony Grossi can get under your skin, what do you think Von Miller can do to you? Right? Just answer the question. Be boring for once. To say, you know what? We should have done better. I'm moving on to Denver. Just something like that. You don't got to make a spectacle. It's going to be on every it's going to be on SportsCenter. It's going to lead Cowherd. It's going to lead all these shows you have it's going to, enforce the idea that some people think he's not emotionally stable enough to lead the team. I don't get it. I don't get the purpose. I still love Baker. I'm still rooting 100% for him. I still want him to be the quarterback of the future, the guy who leads us to a Super Bowl. But I think you can like someone and still criticize them at times when they're wrong. I think you turn into how there's these not to get too political here, but there's these people that no matter what Trump says or does, they can't criticize him, right? Because they think if you criticize him, it's showing some kind of split in your allegiance. I think that's the same thing with these Baker people. Look, I voted for Trump, but I am the first one to say when he says something stupid or something that annoys me. Same with Baker. I love Baker. I root for Baker, but I can say when I think he's said or done something I don't like or I disagree with or I don't think he handled a situation well. I mean, you just have to be honest with yourself. It wasn't pretty. It was stupid. Did Tony Grossi ask a dumb question? Maybe, but I don't think it was anything so bad that, that he had the right to be berated and then walked out on. I didn't see that.
Yeah, and OBJ kind of echoed that similar sentiment to what he said to Baker. He's like, "Hey, man, you just got to rise above essentially those dummies and just kind of block them out." Is it insane to say that OBJ is the most level-headed?
It's pretty crazy. You know what? Though? I was actually going to comment on that during the show here. OBJ came off so insightful and so intelligent. It almost made me feel like I'm wrong at him at some level. I thought after last game he was going to start being a problem, right? And I clearly was wrong. He's an insightful, intelligent individual who portrays his feelings well in that setting. He's great in the press conference setting, and I think that's him. I think he really believes it. I think he really believes that Baker is going to be a really good player. He really wants to get his back, but he also wasn't afraid to say, "Hey, look, you're probably a little wrong there."
Yeah.
You know what the funny thing was? I listened to the press conference and he said, and this is a little sidebar thing, but he was saying, I got to play better. Jarvis has to play better. Baker has to play better. And he started to say Chubb's got to play better. And then he stopped. Because I think he's like, what more can Chubb do? He's averaging 5.5 yards a carry, right? Not fumble and a driving rainstorm at after a 50-yard run, I guess you could say, or not get the ball kicked out of your hand by your own offensive lineman. But it was kind of funny when you were listening, and then I read the transcript afterwards that he started to say these guys had to play better. He started to say Chubb that he stopped.
Yeah. Chubb did say today he felt like he let down the whole city of Cleveland, which Chubb's just the man. Chubb, you didn't let anyone down, man. You're running hard.
Stand-up guy, man.
Hard. What I loved about what OBJ said was he kind of corrected Baker, but also like lifted Baker up. It's like, hey, Baker is still my quarterback. I'm still going to ball. I still believe in him. This is just one of those things that, and to Baker's defense, I can't imagine having someone like a Tony Grossi who just really before we drafted him was just, just drive-by pelting bullets at Baker. And then it's been nonstop on the team. And they've gone back and forth kind of jokingly. And I think this is like the boiling point of a 2-5. Honestly, they felt like they should be better. We maybe weren't a couple games off this prediction. I know I was like, they're 13-3 this year, but a lot of people had them kind of at the 3-4 area right now. And so it's not that they're completely off projections. It's just what makes this so hard is there was just so much hope and so much expectation. And I know we're always good at that as Browns fans, but this really felt different. It all started with John Dorsey. We're going to wake the sleeping giant, right? He's the one that's fanning all this into flame. John Dorsey. We're going to wake the sleeping giant and watch what we're going to do to wake that giant. We're going to bring in these people. We're going to do these trades. And, oh, my gosh, that's just no one calm down here. Get it going. Oh, we broke all these, like, pre-sale game records. Oh, my gosh, dog check. Like, he's fanning that into flame.
Yeah, well, here's what I think. I think you have to learn how to win as a team, right? Yeah. And the schedule makers didn't do the Browns any favors. We've talked about this. I wish the schedule was reversed. I wish we would have started out with a couple games against the Bengals, a couple games against backup quarterbacks like we're about to have. I mean, look, we're going to play, what is it, something like 6 of our games now against backup quarterbacks that we have left. We'll have 2 against Ryan Finley. We'll have 2 against the Ben Roethlisberger-less Steelers. We'll have a game. We have a game coming up this week against a backup quarterback against Denver, a guy who's never even taken a snap in the NFL. I mean, the luck is hit. Now we just hope it's not too late. But, it would have been nice to learn how to win, quote unquote, as a group against these teams in the first half of the season. But instead, because you want to strike when the iron's hot, the Browns were the hot story. They wanted to get them on national TV early. So that influenced us having the toughest schedule in the league through 8 games. Now, that's no excuse. We should have found a way. If we were with our talent, we should have found a way to win at least 3 of the first 7. Didn't happen. We gave a couple away we should have had, and now we are where we are. Is it possible the Browns could go on a run and win 8 of their last 9? Yeah. I mean, look, let's just be honest. Look at the schedule. You get the Ravens at home, who you handled on the road. You get all those backup quarterbacks. Now, Arizona is looking like someone forgot to tell Arizona they were supposed to be an easy win, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're playing much better, but that's not till the end of the season. So you have a chance here to really stack some wins and build some momentum and learn how to win as a team. So that's something I like. I just wish the schedule would have lined up, different than it did as far as the season goes.
Well, let's get things started or continue things, I guess. That was a nice little conversation there with the House of Hoodies game preview presented by our friends at House of Hoodies. Jay, Sunday, 4:25 kickoff again in Denver at Mile High. The Browns take on the Denver Broncos. Remember, Baker last year led the Browns in the fourth quarter comeback. Was very, very exciting. I won money on that game, so I was pretty pumped. The line, do you know the line for this game, Jay?
I have no clue, have not looked. I would imagine it shifted since Flacco's neck injury.
This is before that. The line I pulled is before that.
I'm going to say Browns by 1.
Broncos plus 2.5. So the Browns are favored on the road. The Broncos are home underdogs. I mean, the line has shifted since then. But Vegas
Probably
is saying
more.
that the Browns should take care of business here. The Browns are 2-5. The Broncos are 2-6. Like you mentioned recently, Joe Flacco injury out, the neck injury. They're starting Brandon Allen, third-year quarterback out of Arkansas. He was initially undrafted, and signed by Jacksonville in 2016. I apologize.
He's a journeyman. He's been on 3 rosters already. He's never taken a snap in a game. His preseason statistics are atrocious.
Yeah.
I think he has 5 touchdowns and 11 picks. They asked Chris Harris about him the other day, and he said, I can't judge a guy off scout team. That wouldn't be fair. So basically what he's saying, he's not even good on scout team. So if the Browns obviously the game plan is going to be to come out and stop Phillip Lindsay and Freeman, stop the 2-headed monster at running back, and try to force this guy to beat you. And if this guy can beat you, you have bigger problems than than we even know, especially with the healthy Denzel Ward, who looks absolutely fantastic. Greedy Williams, who was in position, one play just never turned. He was actually playing physical, which I love to see. Remember the knock on Greedy coming out was he couldn't tackle. The guy's flying around, drilling people, helping on run coverage. I like it. And Denzel Ward gave up 0 receptions, and played a really good game. He looked like the old Denzel Ward, blocked a kick like the old Denzel Ward. So I really like what the Browns look like coming into this game.
So listen, the Broncos are 2-6, but listen, Jay, 5 of the Broncos' 8 games this season have been decided by one possession.
Unbelievable. They've been in every game because Vic Fangio is a great defensive coach, and they've been able to keep them close. Now they are 0-6 when the team that they are playing has scored 20 points or more. So kind of it's a race to 20 because I don't see how Denver can get over 20 points unless we turn the ball over and give up another score on offense. However, if the Browns get to 20 points, I believe they win this game, and I think they know that, and I think Freddie's aware of that stat.
Not to beat a dead horse, but the Browns have had the toughest schedule in the NFL so far. Our opponents combined are 30-9. That's the record from our first 7 games, Jeremy. 30-9, toughest in the NFL. Nick Chubb, this is encouraging, has 75 plus scrimmage yards and 7 straight games, the second longest streak in the NFL. A receiver for the Broncos, Cortland Sutton, has 70 receiving yards in 4 straight games. Is another second longest streak in the NFL. For receiver, Denver's allowing the fewest fantasy points per game to receivers this season. So if OBJ, who is looking to kind of have a bounce back game, might be a little difficult. Denver is known for their defense. What are you expecting to happen in this game, Jeremy? What's going to happen? To race to 20? I mean, is it going to be that simple?
I think it is that simple. I think the Browns get 20 or more points, they win the game. They have to find a way to manufacture that. Now, I don't know if you've been following the injury report this week, but the Broncos are extremely beat up on top of everything else. They traded away Emmanuel Sanders, who looked absolutely fantastic last night. Like you said, Flacco is hurt. Even Von Miller didn't practice Tuesday, was limited Wednesday. They had about 12 guys on the injury report, 6 of them with DNPs that all haven't practiced this week yet at all. So, I mean, it's a beat-up team. It's a team that's probably on the verge of just giving up. The Browns have to go in and put the final nail in the coffin. We don't know. I think, this kind of game is one of those games where if you can get out early and get a lead, they might quit. So I think it's imperative that the Browns come out fast. We've done it once or twice this year. I think we really need to do it this week. Put this game to bed early and let Chubb, eat up the whole second half. With Kareem Hunt coming next week, you can probably afford to give Chubb a few more carries than you normally would to salt this game away.
The Broncos last play, they have a 10-day rest. They played on Thursday night against the Chiefs, and Matt Moore just had a couple really bad throws, but also a couple really nice throws. The Chiefs' offensive line was atrocious. I kind of expect, not to get ahead to the keys of the game or bold predictions, but one of the narratives I expect to see here is just the Browns being able to create pressure. I would not be surprised if we come away with 8+ sacks in this game, Jeremy. What are some other narratives you see potentially from this game?
Well, I think that, the way they've been talking, I think that you'll see OBJ have a pretty good game. Now, Chris Harris is an excellent player. He's going to be probably shadowing Odell Beckham Jr. I still think he's going to have a good game. I think it's primed. I think him and Baker are ready to do that. I think, there's mixed reviews on the Denver run defense. Leonard Fournette had 220 yards rushing against them, right? But they've held a bunch of other teams under 50 yards rushing. So it's kind of a mixed thing there. I just think that Nick Chubb is to the point where it doesn't matter who's playing on the other side of the ball. Like I said before the New England game, right? That I think that Chubb's at a point where he is a elite runner in this league, and he's going to have a good game. I think that I hate to say this and I usually don't say this because I'm kind of optimistic and cautiously optimistic about stuff. I think the Browns are going to blow them out. I think the Browns understand the gravity of the situation. I think the Broncos are ready to quit, and I think the narrative is going to end up being the Browns win by 3 touchdowns. I think it's going to be. I think the Browns are going to win big.
So if the Browns want to have any shot at anything this season, this is a game that should happen. This is a game that we should, with Brandon Allen, unless he's the second coming of Gardner Minshew, which I hope not, because I don't even know if Gardner Minshew is coming of anything. But if this Browns team is looking to have any hope the rest of this season, they need to take care of business against a team like this on Sunday on the road and really begin to set themselves apart from these other kind of 2-5, 3-5,
sure.
3-4 teams, right? Jeremy, if the Browns lose, what are we looking at? Let's talk narrative. So the Browns win. Hey, they should have won. Hey, that's just like the Jets game, right? Like, hey, the Browns are able to get a couple things rolling. Not really like throwing a parade down Euclid if we beat the Denver Broncos by 3 touchdowns. It's not going to happen. But what will happen, Jay, if we go to Mile High and the Broncos sneak one out at home, maybe by a field goal?
Bad.
Heaven
bad.
forbid by a touchdown.
Even a close game is going to be bad because most people are going to say that's it. I mean, 2-6 realistically, unless you win out, that's it. It's going to be ugly. This is just a huge. It's essentially, I don't want to say a tipping point. Could be a tipping point or could be a pivot point, right? This could be the last drop of water that spills the whole container, or this could be the point where we pivot forward and go on a streak here. So I just think it's a huge game. I think the Browns win this, and the Buffalo game next week's like the Super Bowl, right? Because you beat Buffalo, then you got the Steelers coming to town, then you got Miami coming to town.
Steelers again.
Right, exactly. So you got a chance to really start stacking some chips there. So but if they lose, I don't even want to think about what happens if they lose, because that's it. We got 8 more weeks of doing this show, and we have to think about stuff to make it fun, right? I guess Kareem Hunt come back, but also if they win, like we said, we got Kareem Hunt, we got the two-headed monster coming back. Freddie talked about they're already got stuff in the works and they're ready for that. So just they have to take care of business this week. It's imperative. If they lose to a team with Brandon Allen as a starting quarterback, they probably don't deserve to make a playoff run, right? You have to beat these kind of teams. And last year they feasted on these kind of teams, right? Yeah. They feasted on Cincinnati. They feasted on the teams that were beat up, broken. So we need to do that again, right? Starting right now, this week, they need to learn how to win and get it rolling. And I don't even want to think about the narratives if they don't win.
Well, I do, because if
that's what you do.
If we lose, my pivot point on Kitchens was last week, man. I know that was off a bye, and I know that was against New England. But I'm ready to move on. And if it takes a loss to Brandon Allen to make that happen, I'm willing to sacrifice this game in Denver. It's still not a conference. So let me ask you this, Jay. What happens if we lose this game, but then we win out, we go undefeated in the AFC North? Would we win the AFC North?
It depends on what other people do. I mean, if we go 6-0, that's, if the Ravens win some big games outside of conference, they can still beat us. I mean, if we are 8-8 and we'll go 6-0 inside the conference and they're 9-7, they win the division, right? Inside the division. We go 6-0 in the division, but finish 8-8, and the Ravens are 9-7, they're the division champs. So that doesn't matter. We got to win a couple games outside of that. Now we'll beat Miami, so that'll be an 8 to win at least. But we'll have to see. I mean, yeah, taking care of business in the division is important, but if you don't win anything outside of the division, it doesn't really matter that much.
So even if sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if we go 6-0 in the division, but the Ravens have a better record, they go to the playoffs, not us. They're division champs.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, if they're not, listen, if we go 6-0 in the division and finish 8-8, say, if they go 9-7, they're still the division champs.
For some reason, I thought
we have to have a better record. No, you have to have
okay.
No, it doesn't matter. It's better record. If you have the best record in your division, you win the division. Period.
So what's the point of conferences? What's the point of?
Well, the point of division is when you win one division game, it's like winning 2 games. Okay, say you win it, you beat a team outside of the division. The Ravens beat a team outside the division. You don't pick up as much. However, when you beat a division team, it's like they lost 2 and you won 2. You see what I'm saying? You pick up a full game.
So they have to be 2 games better than us if we go undefeated in the division and they.
No, it doesn't matter. Yeah, outside of the division, it does. All that matters is your final record, okay? But when you beat a team inside your division, it matters more because you're harming a team in your division while you get the win. So if you win a game against Miami and they lose a game against Buffalo, you pick up a game, but it's almost like 2 games when you beat it. But all that is just words. It doesn't matter. It's whoever has the best division record at the end of the season wins the division.
So you're telling me
if there's a tie, if there's a tie now, if us and the Ravens both go 9-7, we beat them 2 times head to head, we're the division champs. But all that matters at the end of the season is your total record.
How am I 32 years old and thought that division record trumped?
No, all that matters is your final record. Now, if it goes to tiebreakers, if you're 9-7 and you go to tiebreakers and say you are split with the Ravens, the next thing they would go to is your record inside the division. So if you are both if you're 1-1 versus the Ravens, but you went 5-1 overall and they went 4-2 in the division, then you get the tiebreaker.
I sound like an idiot right now. I grew up playing Madden, and my whole life, I'm 32 years old. I thought that if you went undefeated in your division, no, even if you had a worse record than the second place team, you would still win.
No, that's not how it works, Jason. You still gotta have the best overall record to win the division.
Huh.
Nothing else matters.
Well, here's a narrative. Chase is an idiot, and didn't know how NFL records with divisions or conferences worked. Anyway, well, gosh, I'm just completely. All right. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
I expect if the Browns lose this game, Kitchens is gone. He doesn't make it back to Cleveland. You have a guess if that happens?
I don't think they fire him if they lose this game unless it's an absolute cluster and we get blown out by a team with Brandon Allen playing quarterback. But I mean, I think it is the beginning of the end if they do lose this game, because I just don't see them rallying to finish with a winning record. And I think if they finish worse than 7-8-1, like we did last year, I don't know how you do keep Freddie around when you finish with way more talent with a worse record than the year before.
Jay, I don't think he'll make it back to Cleveland if we lose this game. The narrative on
Is that your
Twitter
bold
was
prediction?
Terrible.
Is
I'm
that your
not going to
bold
predict that
prediction?
the Browns are going to lose. I'm just looking
Yeah, I
at
gotcha.
narratives here that, gosh, that would not be. He wouldn't survive. Are you kidding me? Think about all the crappy things that happened in New England against the Patriots, and then for us to lose, crappy things are going to have to happen in this game. He took a penalty on 4th and 11 to not waste timeouts so you can go for it on 4th and 16, Jeremy.
Which is one of the most head-scratching things I've ever seen. I didn't see a single person who had ever heard or seen anything like that, right? No. I mean, that is completely – it's almost worse than the draw play on 4th and 9, right? I mean, it's just a strange head-scratching decision. Now, that all being said, unless it says something absolutely horrific happens in Denver, I just don't see how they fire him midweek. I just don't. But you never know. Stranger, it is Cleveland.
Well, that was our House of Hoodies narratives and Chase Understanding NFL Records preview presented by our friends at House of Hoodies, your number one source for hockey style NFL sweatshirts. Super comfortable, super warm, and super stylish. Use promo code ORANGER at checkout to receive 20% off your order. Check out their entire NFL selection online at thehouseofhoodies.com. Again, that's thehouseofhoodies.com. Follow them on Twitter at HOHoodies. And don't forget to use our checkout code ORANGER to save 20% off your order. Jay, what are some keys to the game if Freddie wants to keep his job through Christmas for the Browns to beat the Broncos in Denver on Sunday evening?
Well, I think, like we talked about, I think get off to a fast start. Let them know early we're here to play. See if they'll quit. I mean, they've already traded away starters. They have guys hurt. They're playing a quarterback who's never taken an NFL snap. So I think it's important to let them know from the get-go, we are out here to play. We are out here to win. Let's put a score up early and let's, break their will. I think that's a big thing. I think stopping the run, obviously. When you have a quarterback who has never taken an NFL snap, but he has a pretty decent running game, if you could control that running game and force him to beat you through the air, that's going to be huge because, maybe he can, but I doubt it. We have a good secondary. We have our corners are healthy again. So I think, forcing them to beat you through the air by shutting down the running game is probably the number one game. I'll go with starting fast to kind of take their will, but right there behind that is forcing them to beat you through the air by slowing down that running game. Huge. The line of scrimmage, the Denver offensive line is a mess. You got a rookie quarterback. All the stuff you throw at him, he has never seen. There is nothing he has ever seen. Any exotic blitzes, he has never seen any of this, right? Never. So, the Browns should be able to confuse him. They should be able to beat up on a bad Broncos offensive line, and they should be able to control the line of scrimmage, and that's the biggest key to the game.
I think you're right. I think also with the new quarterback, you're going to see a lot of short passes, a lot of screens. The teams know Browns have a hard time with screens. And so I think Phillip Lindsay, Hillman, they're great at catching the ball. We have to stop those little out routes of the running back, the wheel routes, the screens. I think we're going to see they're going to try to protect Brandon Allen and not have him really throw super far down. Flacco just slings it, man. He'll throw 70 yards looking for a pass interference. He doesn't care. I don't think Brandon Allen's going to do that. I think they're going to look for a lot of check down routes. And so keeping these running backs in front of Schobert, in front of Mac Wilson, right. I think that's going to be key.
Yeah. Yep. The Browns have to be careful because that is one thing teams do. They'll use their aggressiveness against them, and that's what the screen game does. So the Browns have to read their keys and be cognizant of the fact that you're right. They're facing a young quarterback, and there's going to be some screens. So sometimes when you pin your ears back to go after the quarterback, someone's got to keep an eye out for that screen pass and play. That's part of all 11 people playing their responsibility. Defense operating as one. So we have to be disciplined on that this week.
Yep. And another thing, I think with a team like this, we have to take care of the ball. We can't give them a short field. We can't have these. I've never seen that turnover before. We can't have that. We cannot have that. Take care of the ball. And Baker, like, don't force throws. Be patient. And Chubb, hold on to that football, baby. It's like, remember the Titans, hold on to that football, PD. Like, it's that play was very similar to the Remember the Titans play too, from behind. And so take care of the football and stopping the running back receptions, I think, is a couple keys to my game. Any others you want to look forward to, man?
No, I think that's it. I think, getting on them early and controlling the line of scrimmage are the two keys. We shouldn't have any problem making our kicks this week. They say that you add about a 5 to 6 yard. This is actually from Mike Prefer this week. You add 5 to 6 yards of length on a kick and almost a full second of hang time on a punt, the thin air. So that shouldn't be an issue this week. We've said it. Siebert's been kicking great. Scottish Hammer, Jamie's been awesome. So the kicking game should be a plus for us this week. Looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to a win. Like I said earlier, my prediction is going to be that we're going to blow them out. I think the Browns put it together. I think you see something similar to the Jets game where we won by 20. I think you see a 28-7, 24-7, 31-10 type of game this week, and the Browns play well on both sides of the ball.
That would be great. I'm not feeling too bold right now, man. I don't know. I'm just super down on Kitchens. I'm going to say 17-14 Browns. But I think it's going to be because the Broncos missed a field goal at the end. So I guess my bold prediction is a missed field goal Broncos to steal the win for us. I think it's going to be an ugly game. I think it's just enough to get a win, but not enough to silence the Kitchen haters, which I don't mind driving that train, man, at all. I just think, I don't know, it's just going to be a ugly win. But hey, a win is 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 a win. The Browns are back in the win column. What do you think, man?
Like I said, I think they're going to win. I think it's going to be decisive, and I think people are going to be excited coming in next week against Buffalo. And like I said, that's going to be the Browns Super Bowl because that's going to get you back to 4-5 against a team that has been pretty darn good, especially defensively this year. So I think the Browns win, and we have a big game, big game against Buffalo. 2 big games next week: Buffalo on Sunday and the Steelers on Thursday.
Yep. Want to give shouts to our presenting sponsors, Aligned Health Center and The Place. Aligned Health Center is Northern Ohio's first chiropractic biophysics clinic. Their mission is simple: to help people in the Westlake and Beechwood areas achieve the best possible health and overall wellness. Also, shouts to The Place. The Place is a full-service fireplace and spa superstore. The Place has been in business for 52 years, family-owned and operated, transforming your backyard into the backyard of your dreams. When you think of fireplaces, hot tubs, grills, and patios, think The Place. Also, shouts to House of Hoodies for their game preview. Jeremy, any final thoughts, brother?
No, just that. I think it's going to be a big win for the Browns. I think they're going to blow them out, and then hopefully we can start this nice magical run to the end of the season. However, if that doesn't happen and we don't win this game, well, it's going to be a really fun, 16 shows to finish the season, bro.
I'm excited for a win, too. I can't wait. Browns,
yeah,
let's go, Browns, baby, come on! Hoo, 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 hoo.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Hoo, 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 hoo.
It's not an illusion. We're talking about the Super Bowl. Anything less is impossible. Bring it brown and orange for the USA.